Welcome to the World Wire Update White. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon for more updates and thrilling short scenes. Let's talk tariffs, a special tax on foreign goods entering the US. Think of it as a cover charge for imports, meant to protect domestic industries from cheaper competition. The idea? Make imports pricier so people buy American. If a widget from China costs $5 and one from Ohio costs $8, a $4 tariff on the Chinese widget suddenly makes the Ohio one more appealing. This is supposed to boost American manufacturing and jobs, but real-world economics are messier. Tariffs often spark retaliation, trade wars where both sides lose. The extra cost usually gets passed to American companies and ultimately consumers. So the policy meant to help workers can end up making everyday items more expensive for them. Tariffs are a blunt tool, easy to swing, hard to control, and full of unintended consequences. Enter Amazon, the e-commerce giant with a global supply chain built for speed and low prices. Tariffs, especially those on Chinese goods, throw a wrench into Amazon's system, making thousands of products more expensive overnight. Amazon and its sellers must choose absorb the cost or pass it to customers. Usually prices go up. Tariffs also create uncertainty, making long-term planning a nightmare for a company obsessed with efficiency. Amazon hates unpredictability, it's like building on shaky ground. This instability pushes Amazon to rethink its supply chain. The result? A scramble to find new, tariff-free sources for its products. That's where the global supply chain shuffle begins. So, what does Amazon do amid tariff chaos? As global trade tensions rise and tariffs keep shifting, Amazon faces a tough balancing act. The company has to make quick decisions to keep its massive supply chain running smoothly, all while trying to avoid passing extra costs onto shoppers. The popular story is that Amazon is ditching US suppliers, but that's not quite right. While some American manufacturers feel left out, the reality is more complicated. Amazon still works with many US businesses, but it's also looking for ways to stay competitive in a rapidly changing world. Instead, Amazon is diversifying its sourcing worldwide. The company is casting a wider net, seeking out suppliers from all corners of the globe to reduce risk and keep shelves stocked. China's dominance as the world's factory is fading as tariffs change the math. Rising costs and political uncertainty are forcing companies to rethink their reliance on China. Companies are now looking for a China plus one strategy, finding alternatives like Vietnam, Mexico, India, and Thailand. These countries are quickly becoming new manufacturing powerhouses, offering lower costs and fewer trade headaches. Amazon encourages sellers to explore these new manufacturing hubs. By building relationships with factories in multiple countries, Amazon can respond faster to disruptions and keep its marketplace thriving. It's not about choosing Vietnam over the US. Most of these goods weren't made in America to begin with. The shift is more about finding the best deal and the most reliable partners, not abandoning American workers. The real shift is from one foreign country to another, not from America to abroad. Amazon is simply moving its sourcing to where it makes the most sense for business and customers. When Amazon moves sourcing from China to Vietnam, it's not taking jobs from Americans. Instead, it's adapting to global realities, making sure products stay affordable and available. It's a strategic move to keep prices low for US consumers. By managing costs and supply chain risks, Amazon helps ensure that everyday essentials and favorite products arrive on time and at a price people can afford. The narrative of Amazon abandoning America is more myth than reality. The company is evolving, not disappearing, and it remains a major player in the US economy. It's all about adapting to new economic pressures. In a world where change is the only constant, Amazon's global strategy is about survival, growth, and keeping customers happy. Amazon's pivot is a masterclass in adaptation, not abandonment. Tariffs forced Amazon to rewrite its playbook, diversifying risk and supply sources. Behind the scenes, Amazon analyzes its sellers' reliance on China and offers tools to help them shift production elsewhere. This includes resources for setting up in Mexico or India, and incentives for those who diversify. Nearshoring, manufacturing closer to the US, means faster shipping and lower costs. It's not about leaving America. Amazon is still investing heavily in US jobs and infrastructure. The realignment is at the manufacturing source, not in sales or distribution. The goal: protect consumers from price hikes and supply shocks. It's a strategic move, not a political statement. Amazon is adapting to keep its promise of fast, affordable delivery. How does Trump react to Amazon's global shuffle? With outrage. His tariffs aim to bring manufacturing back to the US, but Amazon's moves are seen as betrayal. The political narrative demands a simple choice: make it in America or be a traitor. But for many goods, US manufacturing isn't viable. Costs are too high. Amazon is attacked for not doing the impossible, creating US factories for products that would be too expensive for consumers. This fuels political theater and social media fury. The real issue: tariffs haven't brought jobs back, just moved them between countries. Admitting this is politically unpalatable, so the rhetoric intensifies. The outrage is less about Amazon's actions and more about the failure of the policy. The cycle of blame continues, even as the global supply chain adapts. Amazon's shift is part of a sweeping global supply chain transformation, one that's reshaping how the world's goods are made and moved. The old model, where companies relied on a single country for manufacturing, has been upended by new risks and realities. For decades, China was the world's factory, delivering products at lightning speed and low cost. Its vast workforce and efficient infrastructure made it the go-to destination for everything from electronics to clothing. But this efficiency came with a hidden fragility. The US-China trade war and the shockwaves of COVID-19 exposed the dangers of putting all our eggs in one basket. Factories shut down, shipments stalled, and companies worldwide faced shortages they never expected. Now, companies are rethinking their strategies, moving production to places like Vietnam, India, and Mexico. These countries are quickly becoming new hubs for global manufacturing, offering fresh opportunities and new challenges. To seize this moment, these nations are racing to build modern factories, train workers, and attract billions in foreign investment. Governments are rolling out incentives, hoping to lure big brands and create jobs. The result is a more fragmented, regionalized global trade network. Instead of one giant supply chain, we're seeing a web of smaller, interconnected routes. Companies might now source electronics from Vietnam, where skilled labor and lower costs are drawing tech giants, textiles from India, which is rapidly scaling up its garment industry, and auto parts from Mexico, leveraging its proximity to the US market. This diversification makes supply chains more resilient to shocks, helping companies adapt faster to disruptions and keep shelves stocked. But the transition isn't simple. No country can yet match China's scale, speed, or efficiency. Building new supply networks is a massive undertaking. Rebuilding these networks takes years of planning, billions of dollars in investment, and a willingness to weather uncertainty. There will be growing pains, higher costs, delays, and the challenge of training new workforces. But for many, the risk of staying put is even greater. The era of putting all our eggs in China's basket is ending. Now, the world is searching for new baskets, diversifying, adapting, and preparing for whatever comes next. What does all this mean for Americans? The answer isn't simple, and it touches nearly every part of daily life, from the jobs we work, to the prices we pay, to how quickly we get our online orders. The promise of tariffs was to bring back US factory jobs, reviving towns and communities that once thrived on manufacturing. But in reality, most jobs didn't return home. They just shifted from one foreign country to another, as companies searched for the cheapest labor and materials. The much-anticipated American manufacturing boom hasn't materialized. Many factories remain shuttered, and the jobs that do exist often look very different from those of the past. For everyday Americans, tariffs usually mean higher prices at the checkout counter, whether you're buying groceries, electronics, or back-to-school supplies. That's because companies often pass their increased costs down to consumers, making it harder for families to stretch their budgets. Amazon's global sourcing has helped keep prices relatively stable for millions of shoppers, even as the world's supply chains are being reshuffled. But moving production to new countries is expensive and time-consuming, requiring new factories, new workers, and new systems. And these new manufacturing hubs aren't as efficient as China's well-oiled machine, so some price hikes are likely, at least in the short term. On the plus side, a more diversified supply chain could mean fewer disruptions from global crises, natural disasters, or political tensions, and more reliable deliveries for everyone. Your prime orders might even arrive faster as companies build warehouses and distribution centers closer to home. That means less risk of empty shelves and more peace of mind for shoppers, even during times of global uncertainty. Still, this shift is a slow, complex transformation, There are no easy answers, and the effects will play out over years, not months. Tariffs have forced companies to rethink their global supply chains, weighing the risks and rewards of every decision. But for many American workers, the promised jobs haven't materialized, and the search for stable employment continues. For workers, the benefits so far are limited. For families, the impact is felt in every paycheck and every shopping trip. For consumers, expect some price bumps, but also a more resilient delivery network that can better withstand shocks. In a global economy, every policy move sets off a chain reaction, often with unpredictable results. The future of your Prime delivery and much more will depend on how these changes unfold.